Hey, so I had a pastel sketch from long ago, and I wanted to do something with it as a project using some Mod Podge and some gold paint that I actually had found amongst my daughter's unwanted items, shipped back from her college dorm, because apparently that was what she was doing during college. A lot of fun projects. So I had this sketch and I decided to resurrect some oil pastels, also some leftover items, actually art materials from childhood. I'm like a Taiwanese person, second generation, so I tend to be really resourceful and I keep things. But especially significant were these art materials because I was like a real dreamy artist type as a child, mostly to escape the tirades of my father, who was kind of a special personality. Now, thinking about this and on the topic of my father, this pastel sketch actually was a drawing I made when we were in Yosemite, and he just sat next to a river, and it made me think of my father's history in Taiwan when he had occasion to escape a bombing raid in which he eventually found all his companions destroyed during World War II in Taiwan. And as I was making this piece, I often wondered about my father and why he was such a distant and sometimes violent person. And I kind of recognized that there was a very sweet and authentic side to him. There was also a side to him that saw things in a unique perspective, probably conditioned by the trauma of World War II and his hardships being an immigrant in a land where he wasn't fluent in the language. And also because he was a pretty smart guy and he could recognize the differences in American culture compared to his background in Taiwan. And he would say things like, "I am a man without a country," and also that in America, nobody admires you, there is only envy. Now, thinking about that, that was actually pretty profound because that is actually something that is somewhat true, that there is kind of an interpersonal indifference compared to kind of the atmosphere of society in Asian cultures. And there's also the sense that your status and the kind of goodwill that you feel from your society in general is somewhat superficial and very conditioned on your material standing and what kind of job or title you have. So there isn't really like an innate sense of admiration just based on your personality or just kind of the very common threads of human connection. So I kind of was reflecting on that when I was making this sketch, and I was also reflecting how Taiwan was under martial law for 40 years. So during most of my father's adult life, there were some pretty horrendous things going on in Taiwan that would be hard to imagine, but it was all happening in the aftermath of World War II and the beginning of communism in mainland China, and Taiwan experienced martial law and also a period known as the White Terror, in which it was not uncommon for people to experience political oppression, and to the extent where if you were in any way suspected of being defiant against the KMT, which was the dominant political party, you could face some severe repercussions, including being kidnapped and killed. And that's what actually happened. So I'm so grateful, and I think my dad was really grateful, because he would eventually say, near the end of his life, "Ah, Fen, look how lucky I am." Now, growing up Asian in America for me was mixed, in that I felt like Asians were not as attractive as the majority society, being Caucasian and light-skinned with blue eyes. So I would spend a lot of time browsing Vogue magazine, and I thought I might want to be a fashion illustrator. But I'm so glad that now I'm kind of an elderly person with a bit of a disability problem, and I am kind of more focused on nature and the wisdom that we can gain from the resourcefulness of nature and the principles of regeneration and healing, which are a great source of inspiration for my art, and also the foundation of my recovery from my disability and all the associated pain and the sense of social isolation stemming from my disability.